I was given some 19mm ply, I think it is, by a friend who was just going to bin it, and I thought that I wanted to do something with it. I've never been very good at woodwork, but I set about doing some plans, sat on the computer and thought about what I'd seen on YouTube from some of the American beekeepers about the type of nuke boxes that they have over there. I wanted some nuke boxes, so I decided to have a go at a nuke box that had got a migratory lid, so that I wasn't bothering with the telescoping lid, something nice and straightforward, and this is what I came up with. So you can see here it has two pieces of the 19mm ply inside as a frame rest. This ply had one edge that was cut at a triangle, so I've incorporated that drop for the frame rest so that the frames rest on the actual edge, so that you don't trap these when you're underneath, and it's easy to come along and pick those frames out, the rests. The sizing is slightly oversized because of the length of the lugs on British standard size frames. The two 19mm together was exactly the right size for the lug, but then you would have no bee space down the side. So unfortunately it is oversized, and I'm going to need to make sure that they are centered in the middle of that, in hopes that no brace comb will be built at either end. And I purposefully made the width of the box, if you like, slightly bigger, so that while I was in there and moving frames about, I had plenty of space to shift the frames with the bees on to be able to bring out the next one without rolling bees. So again, I'm going to have to centre those frames in the middle, or create some sort of thin dummy board to go down the outside. But I wanted to share it with you because if I can create a nuke box like this using my horrendous woodworking skills, then anybody can. So I put together, I'm in centimetres and also in millimetres here. I'm a primary school teacher, so I teach that all day, every day anyway. So base and roof, the same size piece of wood, 20 centimetres by 50, two side pieces that go up the side here, 24 centimetres by 45. That allows for a 5 centimetre landing board. I'm going to put in an entrance. I've forgotten to do that before I put it together. I was just excited to have a go with it. And then the two end pieces are two end pieces which are glued and then screwed together. They were 20 centimetres by 16 for the first part, which is this part here, and then end B is just 2 centimetres higher, and that takes in account of the natural slope that I had on the wood. The cleats, I don't know if they're called cleats, all the same, more or less, 5 centimetres by 20 centimetres. 20 centimetres is from side to side, incorporating the 19mm on either end, plus the 16 centimetre frame rest inside. So as you can see here, we've got this handle here then becomes where the frame rests is, so you can pick it up with the handle. And then the migratory cover, nice and straightforward, just a rectangular piece of wood, cleat attached to the bottom going downwards, a cleat going across the top, and although I did say on those measurements 6 at 5 centimetres by 20 centimetres, I just used what was left after I'd done the cutting, so this one is actually smaller than the other ones as per the handle. I was very excited. I know that the woodwork is very poor, but my bees won't be bothered. It was free wood, I've thrown it together. It's my first attempt and I'm really pleased with it. And so, having searched the internet for a very, very simple nuke box for British standard frames and not being able to find a simple design, decided to come up with my own. So I've probably not reinvented the wheel, I've probably just modified some bits, but it's a 4-frame nuke. I want it as a mating nuke, so that I can use that. I have got some poly nukes which I really like, but this wood was free and all it's cost me is my time really, and a few screws and nails and a bit of glue. So that's the basic design. We've got the base. The pink part here is the back side panel. You can see the frame inside, the 2 end pieces which make up the end of the box, the handle at the top here which closes up that gap, and then we've got the roof which is just a migratory cover. I actually keep my bees under an open-sided barn, all open at all 4 sides, so the only weather that they're going to get is a little bit of side-winded weather, but we'll see how they're getting on. The American guys seem to use these migratory covers all the time and don't seem to have any problems with it, so we'll see what comes of it. I'm planning on creating some inner covers, or crown boards as we call it, using some plastic silver-backed bubble wrap. I forgot what you call it, but it's the stuff that you stick behind your radiator and stuff to insulate. So I'm planning on putting a piece of that over the top of here and then putting the migratory cover onto the top, which will then just hold it down and just seal it off to the elements. But they'll propellise it up and keep it watertight and draft proof anyway. But the 19mm ply means that this roof isn't going to bow either. Obviously the dimensions that I've given you on these on these layouts will vary depending on the thickness of the wood that you're using. So if you're using 19mm 19mm 1.9 centimeter plywood, then these dimensions are what they are. If you're using anything else, you'll need to do a bit of calculation, work yourself. This wood was already varnished on one side, so I've made sure that it goes to the outside and also to the underneath. The only bit of varnished wood that this have on the inside is that inside bar. There wasn't really any way I could get away from doing that, but I didn't want the varnished side inside because of condensation. The wood will soak up any moisture that's in there, but the varnish should help to keep some of the weather out, and then when that starts to flake off, which I know it will do, then I'll just repaint using what I use on the other hides. Hope this video is helpful. As I say, I've not been able to find a national nuke box design and plan which is easy enough for an idiot like me to be able to produce a nuke box from, so this is dead straightforward. The hardest part is cutting out the pieces. We have an old bench saw, so once I got my handle on it and attempted to try not to cut my fingers off, once I got the pieces cut out, actually screwing it and banging it together didn't take long at all. So I'm really pleased with it, and I've got a absolute shed load of this wood left over, so I'm going to have a go at making some more. It's just a shame that I haven't got the bees, because we're in at the end of December now, to be able to try it out before I create the rest of them. But they'll tell me what it's like next beekeeping season, and hopefully it'll be all right. I'll put a bit of paint on this landing board and all the edges that are exposed to the weather, so that they attempt to stay dry and clean some of this concrete off, which is what the wood was used for in its first stage of its life. Hope that's helpful. Comments below, questions, helpful tips, hints, constructive criticism. Don't pull my woodworking skills too much to bits. But thank you very much.